About this time 6 years ago, we were all hearing of a mysterious new virus that was rapidly making its way around the globe. And within just a few months after that, our world had completely changed forever. We're still feeling the social and economic effects of it even today. But right now, there's talk of a different disease, the Nipah virus. So today, we're going to talk about what that is, what makes it so dangerous, and whether or not we should actually be concerned about this thing turning into the next big global pandemic. So Nipah virus is zoonotic, meaning that it originates in animals and can spread to humans. Its most well-supported host is the fruit bat. It doesn't really do anything to them, so it's free to make more of itself without killing the host, but it can affect other animals too, like pigs or horses. The most common way that people end up with this thing is that they either have close contact with an infected animal, regardless of what it is, or they eat food that has been contaminated by an infected animal. So things like raw dates, palm sap, stuff like that. And this thing can have a wide range of symptoms. Some folks may not show any symptoms at all, others may have respiratory issues, and then if it's really bad, people will come down with fatal encephalitis, which is swelling or inflammation of the brain. And there are two commonly recognized strains of this, the Bangladesh and the Malaysia strain. And as you could probably guess, those are named after the places where they were originally discovered. There have been outbreaks in Bangladesh, India, Malaysia, Singapore, and the Philippines. There's actually been outbreaks every year in Bangladesh, every year since 2001. So this thing isn't new. I think it was originally discovered around like 1998. So even though it's been in the news the past few weeks, it's been with us for a while. But the reason why we're hearing about the Nipah virus right now is because of an outbreak in India. There have been two laboratory confirmed cases of it. Their symptoms began in late December 2025, and both of them were healthcare workers in the same private hospital near Kolkata. They did contact tracing, I believe, on 196 people, and none of them tested positive. So it looks like this particular outbreak is probably over. The concerning thing about it, though, is the fact that they don't really know for sure where the original exposure for this outbreak was. So the two healthcare workers, they don't know where they got it. It's possible that maybe somebody came in with mild symptoms, they mistook it for some more common type of viral illness, treated them and sent them out the door, and then those two people wound up sick. But that is just purely conjecture. That's just maybe one way that it could have gone down. But it is consistent with risk patterns that we most commonly see with Nipah virus. People that are in close contact with infected people or their bodily fluids, and healthcare workers definitely meet those criteria. As of right now, one of them is recovering and the other one is still in critical condition, at least off of what I could tell based off of research. And there's a lot about the Nipah virus that makes it incredibly dangerous. First off, its earliest symptoms mimic common, less dangerous viruses. Things like headache, fever, muscle aches, vomiting, and even a sore throat. There's a very good chance that a lot of us have had at least one or two of those symptoms sometime, over the past few months. I know I was sick around Christmas. And then it can evolve into more severe neurological symptoms, things like confusion, seizures, or coma, and that comes from that encephalitis, that swelling or inflammation of the brain. And some people might even have severe respiratory symptoms, including pneumonia. The fatality rate of it is between 40 and 75%, which is kind of on the upper end of very dangerous viruses. If you take something like smallpox, which is considered by many to be a full-on boogeyman, the most common form of that, it's only around 30%. I say only, which, I mean, the word only doesn't really go there because 30% fatality rate is absolutely insane. I mean, we're talking about something that would literally change the world if it got loose. Another thing that makes it dangerous is that there's no cure for it. The only thing that you can really do about it is supportive care. So if somebody is having respiratory issues, they could be put on a ventilator. You can support their other organs. Basically, all you can do is try to make the person comfortable and try to give the body a decent chance of fighting it off on its own. You can't actually go after the virus itself. And as of right now, there is no vaccine. I believe that there are some that are in trials, but there's nothing out there now that can be given to people. But even though the Nipah virus is very deadly, it's probably not something that most of us around the world need to worry about too much right now because it's not very transmissible. Viruses have what's called an R0 value, which is more or less how many people could reasonably be expected to get infected by one sick person. So in order for something to be a candidate for a pandemic, it needs to have an R0 value greater or equal to 1. Nipah virus only has an R0 of around 0.33 to 0.48. You compare that to something like measles, which is the highest. You have an R0 of 12 to 18. Original COVID was 1.4 to 2.4. The common cold is 2 to 3. And then flu is 0.9 to 2.1. And since Nipah is so much lower than those, it's probably not going to spread out of control. As long as it gets found in time, then it is pretty controllable. The way that most of us would end up with this thing is through travel-related exposure. So if you're sitting in your house anywhere in the United States, Canada, UK, chances of you getting exposed to this thing are astronomically low. It's actually considered as a low global and even regional risk right now. Now, there is a chance, though, that it could mutate and become more transmissible, but I don't think that there's any signs of that happening. But if the Nipah virus does end up becoming more transmissible and does become a bigger problem, it would obviously have some pretty significant impacts to pretty much every aspect of our lives. First and foremost, it would have a big impact on our healthcare system. Those folks would be right at the front lines, and our healthcare system would become even more strained than it was 6 years ago. There would also be huge economic impacts. If we thought that the shutdowns in 2020 were awful, it wouldn't be anything compared to this thing, because, I mean, the fatality rate is many, many, many times higher with Nipah than it was for Rona. Also, there would be social effects also. I mean, we all remember how big of a dumpster fire the world was in 2020, and really, it still is. A lot of, I think, the issues that we're having in the world right now kind of started then, or at least were exasperated by that, and they really haven't calmed down since. If we were to have another pandemic with something even more deadly than what we had back then, all of that would obviously be made much, much worse. But I think that what we all need to do right now is don't just get focused on this disease or one particular situation, whatever it may be. You know, there's a lot of talk about World War III, all of these different horrible things that can happen. And if you focus on only one thing, you kind of pigeonhole yourself, and it makes it, you kind of put blinders on. You can't see the other threats that may be out there and are really a lot more realistic. So focus on your preparedness as a whole. That's one thing that I try to do as much as I can on this channel, because really the same things that you need during a hurricane for a few days or a few weeks when the stores are shut down is going to be the same stuff that you would need during a pandemic when you don't really want to go to the store. You would just need more of it for that extended duration of time. So focus on things like your food and your water storage. Also, other things that you need. Fuel's a big one. I think fuel is probably one thing that most people overlook. And when it comes to medical issues, you know, like viruses, anything like that, probably put a bigger emphasis on medications, first aid items, also sanitation and hygiene, because while Tylenol probably isn't going to help you out all that much if you end up with Nipah or something terrible, if you have those things, when something is going down, you're not going to have to go to the drugstore and risk getting yourself infected by somebody while you're trying to pick up medicine for your sniffles. Also, have things to keep your house clean. If you're really concerned, invest in some more serious respiratory protection than, just even an N95. Something like a P100 respirator or even a gas mask would probably make people feel a lot better if one of those monsters actually did show up. Now, if you want to see the medications and other medical preps that you should probably stockpile, then click here. Or if you want to see 25 other items that every prepper should stockpile at least in 2026, then click here. Thank y'all for stopping by. Y'all have a good one.